8 more days, and we watch the Miami Dolphins take on the Los Angeles Chargers. So why not start my expectation mini-series with Tua Tagovialoa? What is up, Fin fans? We are going to be talking a whole lot about Tua Tagovailoa. I would say his whole name, but I haven't said it in a while. I'll just put the clip in of me saying it. I can say it if I hear it a bunch of times. But we're going to talk about Tua. We're going to go over a lot of stats, right? I'm going to look at his 2022. We're going to look at a ton of stats. PFF came out with their quarterback thingamabobber. We're going to look at that. It's a little different. They took some things out that I wish they didn't because I want to know more about things they did. But we're going to look at a ton of stats. And then I'm going to give you my expectation of what I want to see out of Tua in 2023. So pretty much what we're doing, we're looking at 2022. And then what do I want to see in 2023? Expectations. I'm going to do that for the entire team. I was going to split it up, but now no, I'm going to do it for the entire team. Then on Monday, you're going to get my picks for the year. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to give you the areas that need to step up. Wednesday is the picks. Thursday, kickoff. Friday, preview. Saturday, I take a break. And Sunday, I will see you live 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. It starts at like 4:20, so about 4 o'clock, 4:10. And my dad will be here, and we're gonna watch the Dolphins beat the Chargers. So let's jump into this. If I'm sound weird in my mouth area, I got a deep cleaning on this side of my mouth, and I'm recording this Friday night. And my God, take care of your teeth, because this deep cleaning hurts so bad, and it still hurts. It's going from here back to here, and it's just like throbbing. So if I sound weird or anything, it's because half of my mouth is just killing me right now. So we're going to jump into this, and we're going to review Tua's stats from 2022. So he had 13 starts with an 8-5 record. Start to finish, he was 8-4. But again, the Bengals game, he started the Bengals game, so they gave him the loss, 8-5 on 13 starts because he had to start the game. 3,548 passing yards, 64.8 completion percentage, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 8.9 yards per attempt, 272.9 yards per game, with a passer rating of 105.5. He had 165 first downs on his throws, which was 14th in the NFL. Percent of passes turned into sacks was 18.9, which is the 13th fewest. He really didn't take many sacks, but unfortunately when he did, we saw what happened. 36th in the NFL with time to throw, with 2 seconds and 2.52 seconds. Jesus, again, mouth, sorry. And he's 6th in the NFL in turnover-worthy plays at 4.2, tied with Josh Allen, Geno Smith, and Carson Wentz. That's where he needs to work on it, but again, I'm going to talk about these things as we get closer to all that shebang. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize myself so we can look at all of these great statistics that I have, right? So this is PFF. They come out with the quarterback. What is it called? It's like quarterback something 2023. They come out with one every year, and it goes over every single quarterback and what they did the prior season. The only thing I don't like about this year is they took out the reads. So last year you were able to see how Tua did going to his second read. They took that out. I don't know why. They took out pressure given up. So a lot of times you'll see on the offensive line who gave up the most pressure, and sometimes, the quarterback was also in there. They took out, there was a few things. I'm like, why'd you take that out? So we're just going to scroll through this and look. Again, this is Tua's stats from 2022. He's 6'1", 3-year experience, 217 pounds, and he plays for the Miami Dolphins. So you look, his PFF grade, his rookie year, 6.5, and then 2021 6.9, and then it shoots up to 81.9. Every year he gets better. You see the trajectory. Week 1 Fantastic game against the Ravens. Good game against the Bills. And then he got a 7.6 PFF grade against the Bengals, even though he threw the interception and didn't throw a touchdown. That's why sometimes PFF's grades are like very, like, I'm like, really? All right, whatever. Then the Steelers game, not so great. And then he went on that tear here against the, I think it was Bears, Lions, oh my, and the Browns. And then the Texans kind of dropped off. And then here is your 4 game. This is the 49ers. This is the Chargers. This is the Bills. And this is the Packers. This is because he threw 3 interceptions. He didn't throw 3 interceptions in this game. It would be much higher, and he would have played more. So those are PFF grades. But again, 76.6, even though he threw an interception, no touchdown, he only played about a quarter. Nah. So this is a stable metrics at quarterback PFF grade percentage among qualifiers in 2022. So clean pocket, he was 94th, which is good. Higher the number, better it is. If not, it would be lower, like avoiding negatives. He's in like the middle of the pack-ish there. Standard dropback, 94th. First and second down, 95th. Here, I'll read it real quick. Stable metric tends to be more predictive of future success than unstable metrics. The most stable facet of the quarterback play are those with the biggest sample sizes. Even though they my mouth intuitively, you know what I'm trying to say, seems easier, unstable metrics are more violating when it comes to projecting quarterback play, and results tend to vary from year to year. Tua was able to find success in his first year with Mike McDaniel, finishing in the 94th and 95th percentile in 4 of the 6 categories. Again, higher the number, the better. So clean pockets, standard drop back, first and second downs, and no play action up top. And then @/beyond the sticks, 79. Not bad, but not up at the top. And then avoiding negative plays kind of in the middle. And then unstable metrics. Under pressure, he actually did pretty well under pressure. He was 80th percentile. Outside the pocket, that's not Tua's bread and butter. So he's still 60th, which is kind of, again, in the middle. You can see how the bar goes. Third and fourth down, 93rd percentile. Did very good there. Play action, again, right in the middle. And then positively graded, 97th percentile. So, again, these metrics are showing Tua had a good year in 2022. And then by situation, you got a clean pocket. His PFF grade was 88.8, which was 6th in the NFL. Pressured, it was 52.1. Not great, but not horrible. 13th. Blitzed, actually did better. 8th, because he's very good. The one thing I noticed, and I'm noticing it from watching Tua play and then watching Mike White and Skyler, he's very quick with his decisions. And that's the biggest thing that he thrives off of is, if I know you're blitzing me and I read the defense and I see that corner coming, or I see the safety coming down, or I see the linebacker shifting and I see what they're trying to do, I'm going to get that ball out quick. And that's what it shows there. When he's getting blitzed, he's 8th in the NFL with a 73.8% PFF grade. Not blitzed, it's even better, 80.7. Play action, again, kind of in the middle. Non-play action, he does really good. Under center, not great. Shotgun and pistol is more for him. Again, that RPO style. Single high safety, he's 8th. 2 high safeties, 7th. So it's like, it don't matter. You rotate those safeties, first with a 92.4. No safety rotation kind of messes him up a little. He goes more to the middle of the pack. And then the 2-minute drill, he's not great, but he's not bad. Again, 13th when it comes to the PFF grade. I wanted to show you guys the chart. Now, this is his passing by throw type. And this is the chart. So this is vertical lead type stuff. And you can see here, this is his bread and butter. We knew that from last year. There's no getting over it or saying, no, that's not true. Right here, the middle of the field is where he really thrives. But he does do well and it's funny, to his right side outside the numbers. Not necessarily to his left side outside the numbers, because you have all these incompletions on the 2 completions, but then on the right side, you have the completions. This is more like on the numbers, and the 1 incomplete. You would think it'd be flipped, being that the man's a lefty thrower. And you think a righty thrower would have easier time throwing outside. And then, the deeps here. PFF passing grade per map, again, between the numbers, that's where his bread and butter is. Outside deep right, he had a very good passing grade of 95.2. To his left, again, his bread and butter, it's not as good. You look here, 59.8, 63.9, but to his right side, 95.2, 72.7. I find that to be so funny and so interesting there. And then, the checkdowns here, he needs to do better at 47.3 on his right, a little bit better on his left. But again, in the middle was his bread and butter. Most targeted routes, the out route was, 11% with an 87.9. The crossing routes, he had a 151.6 passer rating. And then slants, which again, in the middle, 84.4. But mostly it was out routes. Again, I hear that he can't throw outside the numbers, but he threw mostly to out routes. He did better with the crossing routes, but he threw mostly to out routes. PFF accuracy map, again, we saw this kind of the middle. It's kind of his bread and butter here. Over here, 61.1 accuracy. Deep right, and then it's the left side, which, again, I find so interesting. Accuracy by depth. It gets worse the further down it goes. Yeah. Heat map. So again, this is showing where Tua is above average when it comes to his passing. Middle of the field. And I say this all the time, he needs to take 2021 Tua and 2022 Tua, put them together. 2021 Tua was considered check down Tua. He would throw it here. I bet you if I pull up last year's map, this was all red and this was all blue. If you could take those two maps and kind of cross them over, let me see if I can find that map. So this is his last year. And you see blue, blue. You see the difference? This year, last year. This year, last year and the year before. You see where the red is? The red is on the numbers, but underneath. On the numbers, but underneath. And this is all blue. He wasn't really pushing the ball down the field. But then look at this year. It's the complete opposite. So if Tua could just take 2021 and 2022 and put them together, that's a very good quarterback in my mind. Again, depth. You got it here. Again, red, blue. It's day and night difference. Like time to throw, which is something I kind of talked about. It's a steady, not great. Essentially, it's just he has less than 3 seconds to throw, 2.5 seconds every time. And then you look here, time to throw, when he has 2 seconds or less, he has a PFF grade of 5. You go to 2.1 to 2.5, where he normally has that time. He's 6th in the NFL. Give him a little bit more time, he goes a little down. But then you give him over 3 seconds, he's 8th in the NFL. So just give him more time to throw the ball. Key passing metrics, average depth of target, that shot up. Again, 2021, check down Tua. 2022, throwing the ball over the field, forcing throws, trying to prove something. That's what I feel. I want to go into some other type of statistics. Let me move myself over so you can see a little bit better. Now, this is a stats for Tua where it splits up, right? Like home versus away. Obviously, surprisingly, actually, he did better away than he did home. Away, he had 191,986 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Versus home, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, with 1,643 yards. Grass versus turf, obviously he did more, and a lot of this also entails how many games he played. He played more on grass versus turf, so he had more opportunities, especially outdoor versus indoor. I think he played 1 game indoor. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, the Lions, I think, was the only game indoors. Everything was outdoor. In wins, obviously he did better than losses, 6 for 6. Cold weather, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Warm weather, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The thing I want to show you guys the most with this chart is, We all know about the defenses, the first and second half, all that stuff, and you can see it here. He had a lot of good in the first half versus the second half, first quarter. His best quarters are the second quarters. But the thing I want to show the most, because again, you'll have people say these are facts, when technically it's their assumption, their educated guess, like, oh, he was not looking off that safety, and that's a fact. That's not a fact. You don't know where he's looking. He has a helmet on. You can't see his eyes. Those are assumptions and opinions. But these are facts. And I heard a lot that Tua did not play well against top defenses, right? He only played well against the bad defenses, against Chicago, against, Houston, against all that stuff. Yet when I look here at versus top 10 defenses, he had a 67.7 completion percentage, 1,102 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, and an interception. I think he did pretty well against top 10 defenses. And then before we get into my expectations, there's also these advanced metrics. So pass attempts, he was 18th in the NFL with 400 pass attempts. Deep ball attempts, he was 13th, kind of middle of the pack. Red zone attempts, again, kind of middle. Team pass per plays per game, kind of middle. Pace of play, these are all kind of in the middle. Passing productivity, passing yards, he was 12th in the NFL. Air yards, he was 14th. Money throws, he was 2nd. Pressured throws, he was 21st, because again, the man is very good at avoiding pressure. Danger plays, he was 13th, kind of middle of the pack. Interceptable passes, he was 8th. And that is something he needs to work on. We're not going to ignore the Steelers game where there was like 4 dropped interceptions. We're not going to ignore that stuff. That's where we're going to talk about. He needs to be better there. Passing touchdowns, he was 8th with 25. Efficiency. Yards per attempt, he was number 1. Adjusted yards per attempt, number 1. Air yards per attempt, he was number 3. Best ball points added, he was 11th. And these are like fantasy. Who gives a crap about fantasy? Efficiency, accuracy rating, it was 7th. True completion percentage, he was 20th. Again, he needs to get a little bit better on that. Deep ball completion percentage, he was number 1. Pressure completion percentage, he was 7th. Play action completion percentage, 13th. Red zone, he was very good in the red zone, 2nd. Clean pocket completion percentage, 24th. That needs to be better. Efficiency, true passer rating, 11th. QBR, 3rd. Expected points added, 3rd. Production premium, 2nd. Receiver target separation, 49th. I thought that was incredibly interesting. You would think with the guys we have that the receiving target separation would be bigger, but it's the 49th in the NFL. Receivers yards after catch was 52nd, and deep dropped passes was 18th with 20. So that's on the receiver side. Advanced accuracy, red zone accuracy, he was 2nd. Deep ball accuracy, he was 4th. Under pressure accuracy, 9th. Clean pocket accuracy, 7th. Deep ball catchable passes, 33rd. That needs to get better. Pressure catchable passes, 32nd. That needs to get better. And catchable pass rate, 56th. That needs to get better. Now, the other thing I heard a lot of is he only does well against zone coverage. He does very bad against man coverage, especially if you look at the Chargers game and the 49ers. The 49ers game, actually, they didn't play man. There was guys open against the 49ers. It just, Tua had a horrible game. But if you look, man coverage, 48.5% of the time he threw against man coverage. Now, that wasn't that high. It's 26th in the NFL, but he still did. And his completion percentage versus man was 69.2, which was 7th in the NFL. Now, obviously, his completion percentage versus zone was a little better, but it's not ranking-wise. His passer rating versus man was 117.8, and his passer rating versus zone was 105.8. So his passer rating is better versus man, which I found to be incredibly interesting. Accuracy rating versus man, 7.9. Accuracy rating versus zone, 8.2. So those are all the advanced statistics and all this stuff. And I gave you all that information before we started talking about my expectations of Tua going into 2023. You get an idea of how he did or what he did last year, because there's things he needs to work on, right? get rid of the ball. He needs to stop holding the ball. He needs to get rid of it. He has to stop forcing throws. It seemed like for some reason last year he was like, I need to prove a point. I was getting called check down Tua all of 2021. I need to prove a point. And he was like, I have Tyreek, I have Jalen, I can push that ball down the field. I'm going to do it. And he like forced it, it seemed, at some points. And that's where a lot of the turnover worthy play ratings and, you know, the uncatchable balls and the dropped interceptions and stuff, that's where that stuff started happening. So he now needs to be smarter with his decision making, which is one of his bright spots. I'm trying to think of other things that negative about him that I think he needs to work on after looking at all his stats from last year. And mostly to me, it's he needs to get rid of the ball. He needs to stop forcing the ball. This is something that I can't figure out, but there's always a period in time where he gets into a funk. And he sticks in that funk, like the 49ers game. That game had nothing to do with the defense and how the defense was playing things and this and that. Because you saw the Sherfield touchdown and you saw the deep touchdown to Tyreek Hill. Things were open and he was hitting them, but then again, things were open and he was just blatantly missing them. So these are, like, to me, the things he needs to work on. Now, when you look at Tua and what he did last year statistically, this is what I expect. My expectations of Tua going into 2023. I need to see him play a minimum of 15 games. Every quarterback in the NFL tends to get banged up, right? We saw Justin Herbert playing with rib injuries. You know, at some points, Patrick Mahomes, I think in 2021, missed a few games. It happens. I'd love for him to play all 17 games in the season, but for me to sit here and think and tell you that I'm confident he would be a lie. I want to see him play a minimum of 15. If he misses a game or two with whatever reason, fine. But I need him to play a minimum of 15 games. And if that being said, I'm going to give you stats for him playing 17 games. Now, last year, he was third in the NFL in 272.9 yards per game. I'm going to take that number roundabout, and that's the metric I'm going off of when I think of how many passing yards I want Tua to have this year. Now, last year he had 3,548 yards. I expect him to play a full 17-game season, which means an extra 4 games on top of that. So I want to see Tua hit 4,639 passing yards. That's about 1,100 more yards, which doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility if you take 272.9 and you times it by 4 and you add it to 3,548. That's kind of the trajectory he was on. That's what I want to see. I want to see his completion percentage go up a little bit. Now, I know there are certain aspects of it that are not under his control. Drops, you know. If there's a ton of drops, you know, we saw it happen to Skyler in the playoff game, and we saw it happen to him against the Bengals when Chase Edmonds dropped an easy touchdown in the end zone. You can't really control that, and it will affect your completion percentage, but I would still like to see his go back up. He had a 64.8. I'd like to see it go up to about a 67. Just go up a little bit, continue, you know, with your accuracy trend. He had 25 touchdowns in 13 games. I want to see that go up to 35. I would be very happy if he had 35 touchdowns. If you look at the stats for last year, I think the passing, like Patrick Mahomes had 41. Josh Allen had 35. Joe Burrow had 35. Geno Smith had 30. So around 30 to 35 touchdowns, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, especially because he had 25 with 13 games. 12 he played from start to finish. So I think you add another 10 on there. You had another 5 games, 2 touchdowns a game. I don't see why that's crazy. 8 interceptions. I don't expect, you know, I would love for it to stay at 8. You know, 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions would be fantastic. But I still think he's going to try to force some passes, and I think he's still going to try to do things and then learn from it and not do it again. So I think he'll probably have, you know, to me, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I think that's, you know, pretty good there. But overall, that's my stats of what I think I want to see. Well, my expectations of what I want to see from Tua in 2023. But overall, right, Chris Grier came out and said they're going to wait till the end of the year to give him a contract extension. Same thing with Christian Wilkins, but we'll talk about that in the next video. For me to see him be worthy of that contract extension, because regardless, he's under contract in 2024 because we picked up his 5th-year option. But regardless, for me to feel like there he is, that's our guy, I need him to stay healthy. First and foremost, I've seen him when he's healthy. Everyone and their mother has seen him when he's healthy play at a top level. Yeah, it's against bad defenses. I don't care. That's what I hear constantly. It's against bad defenses. But I'll show you statistics of Tua's passer rating versus the Lions, Josh Allen's passer rating versus the Lions, Justin Herbert versus the Lions, and Tua trumps them. Against the Lions, against the Browns, against the Lions, Browns, Bears, against all these teams. Everyone thinks, oh, they're just such a bad defense. Yet he does better numbers than the better quarterbacks against the same exact teams. And he faced, when I look at these statistics, he faced a better Lions team. So I want to see him stay healthy, because when he's healthy, the team wins. And I've seen him play at a high level. Also, we got to win a playoff game. Now, I don't necessarily, and I'm saying necessarily, always put losses on the quarterback, right? Like the Tennessee Titans game. Tua played a horrible game. But also, that team was not prepared for that game. Listen to what Mike Gesicki had to say. The Buffalo Bills game his rookie year. Tua didn't play a good game. But I'm not putting that game on Tua when the defense gave up 3 touchdowns in like 4 minutes. At that point, you can't run the ball anymore. You become a one-dimensional offense. And of course, there's people slipping and falling, causing interceptions. Yes, Tua had a bad game, but that Bills loss wasn't on Tua. Now, you can call me a Tua-neer or whatever you want. Those are facts. Go watch the game. You can't really blame a quarterback when the opposing team scores touchdowns like it's nothing. What are you going to do? And you got guys slipping, causing interceptions. That being said, we need a playoff win. And Tua needs to prove this season that he's the guy to get that contract. He's the guy that we can sit back and say, okay, we can win, and we can win a lot, and we can possibly win a Super Bowl with him at the helm. This is the year he needs to do it. Because last year I said he needs to prove to me that he is a franchise quarterback, and at times last year he proved that he was. The Ravens game, he took the team, put him on his back, won that game. The Bills game with that 3rd and 22 pass showing, even after taking a big hit from Milano, even after the back injury, all that stuff in that game, he still marched him down the field when it mattered and scored a touchdown. Again, not great overall, but it comes down to those moments. When the game's on the line, can you take him down the field and seal a win or take the lead? And he did it. Lions game, the Bears game, the defense didn't show up. It was a shootout and 2-1, plain and simple. The Browns game was just an overall good game. So I need to see him, chain it together. 15 games minimum and win a playoff game. And then to me, I'm like, yeah, give him a contract extension. But if he gets banged up and he plays another 12 games and we miss the playoffs because those 5 games he doesn't play, Skylar Thompson and Mike White just can't do it, and we miss the playoffs going, let's see, you play 12 games, say we win, we go 9-8 again. Then it's like you really got to sit back and be like, can you mortgage your future of this team on somebody you can't rely to stay on the field to help us win games? Then that discussion has to happen. And then, that's where I came in with, I don't want to give him the 5th-year option. Because if that is the case this year, which I hope it's not, then you need to, then the category is moving on. Caleb Williams. Trading for a quarterback, because no one's getting younger. We all want to win. But I gave you the stats on what I think what I want to see out of Tua this year. I want to see him play minimum of 15 games, but I want to see him play the full season, and I want a playoff win. I think Tua can do it. Tua has proven to us he can take a team down 21 points and bring us back and win. Tua can win in a shootout. He's proven to us that he can do that, and he also proven to us that he can play in the cold, because that Bills game, even though it was a crappy game, he showed that he can keep them in it. It was the defense that gave that game up with that final drive. I just need to see him play 15 games minimum, win a playoff game. That's my thoughts on the situation. Comment below. Let me know what your expectations of Tua are for 2023 and what you need to see for him to get a contract extension. But other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow when we break down the team in general, the entire team, my expectations. Monday, I'm picking each game, give you my record prediction. Tuesday, we're talking about areas that need to step up, and then we kick off the regular season. Let's go. Like usual, stay classy. Evans up.